Good.
Feels like I'm in court.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're up a little bit and behind you.
Sorry, Matt.
Yeah.
Someone else told me
Do I do
that.
anything? We're going?
Just recording.
Okay.
Closed session.
We gotta do a roll call, man.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We gotta do a roll call, man.
Thanks, Becky.
Roll call.
Have you, she,
No, she gotta do it.
got it, okay. I'm just going down the line because I don't have a list.
Is that door locked?
Yep.
Okay.
Roll call.
Roll call going into closed session, Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Wickman,
Aye.
Belt,
Aye.
Schultz, Groby.
Aye.
All right,
Okay.
go around the room and introduce ourselves.
Are we going then?
It says it shows it's recording,
Is
so
it all pause?
it says recording. It's good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, so status recording.
Brian Shea?
Yeah. Tim Whitman.
Scott Bell.
Justin Schultz.
Lynn Grovey.
Matt Wilbur.
Mark Schumacher.
Samantha Fleischer.
Corby Fleischer.
Mitch Kite.
We're in closed session.
So I'll just take a little bit of lead on this. I'd asked, I was on a phone conversation with Corby and I'd asked them to come in because a lot of the conversations that we've been having, you know, I talk to Corby and then I come back and then you guys ask me a million questions and then I go back to Corby and I just thought it'd be best if we just had Corby here and then we could address any questions that still may be lingering. We've had some discussions individually amongst us. I think we're getting hopefully closer where we want to be, and I think that's just really our opportunity now, just to get some of those.
Will you state where we're at this time?
So, yeah, the last time I talked with Corby, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we talked about setting the price just to purchase Ski Hill and the two properties, the houses, at $3.5 million. The payment arrangement that Corby offered was that we could pay him 3.2 and then set like 2 to 3 years afterward to pay him the remainder to get to the 3.5. Within that time period, if the county was to move forward, he was gonna finish out this season, obviously. And then next year, when the ski season started again, that he would potentially have first right of refusal against any other competitors that might be there. So say some other ski company comes in and says, yeah, we want to lease this property for X dollars, we would at least give Corby the opportunity, the opportunity to, you know, match that or beat that or whatever. And then, until obviously we've paid him in full. I think we've had some discussions about potentially, hanging on to some of those employees that are there. I think that's just some conversations that we probably all have questions on. I think I've pretty much covered where we're at. Did I leave anything out or?
Well, that's pretty close, yeah. That's close.
What do you mean pretty close? Is that where we're at or not?
That's where we're at. Yeah.
So I think now at this point, you know, really, we have to just, in closed session, we can't make any decision. So like, we can't say, yes, we're doing it. Well, we can say, yes, we're doing it, but it doesn't mean anything until we finally vote on it in public session.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just some weird formalities, but, yeah, I guess I don't have a ton of questions, so this is the board's opportunity to ask, so.
You wanna run it this year?
Well, that was kind of what Justin and I were talking about was, stepping back a little bit, it was the county purchased it, and then we have a management agreement, and the county paid us to operate it. Well, it takes some of the financial responsibility off the county, we'd run it ourselves, and that would be for this year.
For this year, the county would own it?
Correct. And then we'd operate it, pay like $1 lease for this year. And then, we'd operate it for the season. Because at this point, I don't see how the county could operate it anyway. If we just buy it and the county step in, I don't know how that would happen.
agree on that. There's
Yeah.
no points to it.
And then leading in the following year, like Justin said, having the first right of refusal on that, Samantha and I have and the previous owners and ourselves, and very vested interest in the ski area, in the property. And we know what can make it, what works, what doesn't work. And it's like growing any business, you know, if you put a bunch of money in the business, is it necessarily gonna make your life easier, or is it gonna make more headache and maybe make a little bit more money? You know, we've come to the point where the several years that we know where we're at, we're comfortable with, and we'd like to grow bigger, but like anything, there's always the what ifs. You know, what if COVID hits? What if there's no snow? What if, the what ifs? And, you know, instead of throwing it all away, for the what ifs, just be comfortable, be happy, and try to make it the best we can with what we have. You know, it's easy to tear down a building and build a great, big, nice, beautiful building when there's things for the snowmaking and other things that have to make the operations operate. And a lot of stuff you see, the improvements we've done over throughout the years are not visible by naked eye. They're underground, they're in the wall, they're sitting on a snowmaking, which is then put inside the, you know, the operations during the summertime.
The question we had, with doing the management agreement or whatever was, how does the liability piece work? So you guys would cover the liability, right, for that? So if someone skis down the hill and breaks their leg or something and they try to sue, they're suing your company, right? Not the county on that?
Exactly, there's a general liability on that. From what I understand, and the knowledge of it, the state of Iowa has something in their books that if someone gets hurt at a state-owned sports facility, they cannot sue the state. If it's a sledding hill, skiing hill, et cetera, baseball field, so they cannot sue the state. So there's protection in that way. I said something that the county attorney or state attorney has to look more details into that.
I don't know that off the top of my head. I mean, it may be the case. I mean, I know that there is some recreational protection, but I don't know if that only applies to state versus county. You know, I mean, there could be a difference for state parks versus how they treat county and town municipalities. I just gotta look into it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a question we had, but then again, on the flip side of this, if we purchase this property, we still have to deal with this regardless. I mean, even if the protection was or wasn't there.
Right.
I would-
So you
Whether
have
or not
something.
there is that sort of immunity, I still wouldn't recommend you sign anything and that didn't have them covering enough liability insurance to cover whatever issues would come up, so we'd be indemnified. So I don't think, it really doesn't matter if we're not immune as long as they've got sufficient insurance.
But all that has to happen outside of the purchase agreement.
Well-
I think,
You've got two, I mean, I think, Tim, the issue is we have two separate really purchases we're looking at. I mean, you've got a real estate purchase and then you've really got a business purchase. And they're really, you can do it all at once, you can do it as part of two different agreements. But I mean, I think that you've got to come to those terms before you sign off. You know, only because I don't think Fleischers aren't gonna sell the property unless they know that they've got their business protected. And we're not gonna buy the property unless we know we got the liability, you know, sides protected. So you have to sort of come to that agreement before, the land changes hands.
Right.
right, I mean, you have the purchase agreement and you have the lease.
You've got we've really got multiple agreements. I'm not saying you can't squeeze them in, but I mean, the way I see it is you've got a purchase agreement for the land and the business, which could be done together in the same document. I probably would recommend it be two separate documents, but regardless, you've got that. And then you'd have a lease I mean, I think you could have the agreement to have a lease back in the purchase agreement. It's not like we can't set those up, whether I have 1, 2, or 3 documents. Those are 3 different topics that do have to be addressed.
Okay.
I got a question. Why are we looking at purchasing it now versus after the season's done?
Well,
I think that's probably I think it's probably me really to answer that question.
yeah, go ahead, Justin.
Well, I'm just saying, I've been the one like kind of pushing this, and that's kind of what
When you may have a funding partner whose money might not be available.
that is
Correct.
exactly true, but the other piece of this is that, you know, when I was talking to Corby, when we first started talking, our timeline was, at one point, we were even talking like October 1st. I mean, obviously, we're here now, but, that's why, I mean.
Yeah, it's October 31st. Is things we're more like for some funding issues and some other issues we like to get taken care of. So that's why kind of October 31st was kind of at that point.
What about as far as like payment goes? I mean, if we had a way to make this work, Are you still, at one point we kind of talked about splitting up the payments to make it over 2 calendar years, just for your tax purposes?
Right.
Does that still matter, or?
It still doesn't matter, it's just the accountant's been looking into this, and, you know, of course, obviously for tax savings purposes, and that's what we're trying to, you know, achieve, on our end. So that's still a possibility. I mean, as far as that's more beneficial, yeah.
So I don't know, I don't know if that's the way we could set it up, or maybe we set it up to where like the ski hills purchased and then the houses are purchased second or something, or, you know, something like
As we kind of talked about doing it that way and putting the county as a first right of refusal on the 2 homes. Or it's set up in a sort of agreement that they purchase it at another date.
The homes?
There's 2 separate houses out
Right.
there that are,
I mean,
Abutting the
I feel
property.
we either do it all or we do none of it, so.
oh yeah, we'll just, well, however the county, I was just saying, I was suggesting that if it could help the county with the funding, we could set that up later, where the homes are purchased at a later date. We can just, we continue to lease them out, it doesn't really matter to me.
How many snow grooming tractors do you have up there?
2.
We have a list of the equipment. Mark?
Yeah, probably have to double check to see if any of that got added to or taken away from. Because I think we had the old Snowcats on there, and I think he probably got rid of
Yeah,
them.
there's 2, whatever they were, yeah, I got rid of those.
So I mean, we have a list, but it would just have to be updated.
The complete inventory inside out,
How
everything?
fast can you do that, Mark?
We'd have to work with Corby on that and figure that out, so.
It'd be
I'm
pretty
sure you probably
quick.
have a list that you can probably,
Yeah,
an
'cause it's-
updated list, and then we could just
Right.
compare it to what we have.
That list was done 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I think maybe a little, well, anyway, real close to 2 years, a little over. Yeah, there's several items that's been added to it, and not too much gets taken off, but yeah. As far as big money items go.
So that, we didn't really get Brian's question answered completely. Take the funder out, or leave them in, we don't know where they're at. What would it be the disadvantage of closing at, I don't know what the date would be, April 1st of next year? You know,
There's 0 issues for us. I mean, I thought that was an issue for you on making sure that you've got all the available funds, that you can use. It doesn't make hill of beans difference, I don't think,
I
to
think we
legal.
could, if we had a purchase agreement, I think we could keep that money till then.
Okay.
That would not be,
I'm ready to, if Mr. Fleischer wants to see a possible payment in 2 different years, I want this closed out before this year's over. And we can pay him the other in January or
I
February.
mean, I would probably recommend, I'm just thinking, I'm putting on my lawyer hat, how to protect the board best I can. And I would suggest that if you're going to, because again, we're talking about 2 fairly significant purchases. The land is the easier side to deal with. It's the business side that's a little tougher. What equipment is there, making sure that equipment is still in the same condition. You know, you're agreeing to buy it and then you're operating it for another year. And that's the concern, is what's the property look, what's the business look like? But I think you can deal with a lot of that by just having good documentation of what equipment is there and available. Take a lot of pictures, so you got the property condition at issue, and that if there's a significant change in that inventory come time for that second payment, that's the time that that gets adjusted. So as long as everything is in the same, or, I mean, you'll have wear and tear every year, but as long as you've got roughly what's expected in the normal wear and tear, then you just write that second payment out and it's not a problem. But if I'm in the Fleischer's seat, I wanna make sure that we're not looking to cause them problems, like, oh, that's just an excuse to knock 200,000 off or something at the end. So I mean, we'd have to negotiate those terms. But I feel like it could be done, the multi-year payout actually makes that easier, because you could say we'll pay, you know, half before December 31st to make sure that that comes into this tax year. And then the second half to be payable after, at the conclusion of the ski season, whenever that would be. And that any final settling up, you know, is done at that time. I mean, I'm just trying to think of ways that sort of keep both sides comfortable.
Well,
I mean, we can come to terms. If you want to get it done, I can figure out the documents to get it done.
I think we can get it done. I just think it'd be maybe I'm totally wrong, but I mean, if it's more beneficial to you to do it over a 2-year period, just for your income tax side of things, I mean, I feel like that might.
That's where my accountant comes into play.
Yeah.
Just to fill out, this year, coming this season, and where we're standing as far as, capital gains tax on the issue, so.
Corby, did you buy any new tractors lately?
Tractors, man, last 2 years. Yeah, I mean, not a big one, no, like a little garden,
Oh,
tractors around.
you were looking at a skid loader.
Yeah, no, we didn't go with the skid loader,
Okay,
no,
okay.
ours runs great. No, we got equipment, and there's a bunch of equipment, I mean, you add it all up, there's a lot, I mean, over a period of 2 years, there's a lot of equipment there. And bits and pieces and everything else. And upgrades, we've got tons of electrical upgrades, tons of drive upgrades. Just to make the lighting, we added more lights for night skiing. Tons of stuff for the last few years, power upgrades.
I got a question about one of the houses.
Yeah.
There's some vehicles behind it, the old dog kennel place.
Oh, yeah, well, we call that the boneyard.
Yeah,
That's when we go out and if we need parts for something, I like to buy vehicles and two of the same. So if something breaks down, we go out and grab pieces off that one and keep on going.
will that be removed?
Yeah, everything will be all cleaned up,
Okay.
yeah. I'll bring them over to your place and drop them off.
No, no, sir. I don't need that headache.
Yeah. No, there's the boneyard, that'd be all cleaned up, everything be all cleaned up, I mean, that's the point.
Is there stuff in the old dog kennel?
It's all personal items, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's just stuff we have stuff in there for the skier too, there's tables and chairs, and we have banquets and, other items are in there, so, not a lot, it's easy to get out of there.
Just question whether it's cleaned at the end.
Yeah, oh yeah, right.
Cleaned out. Anything?
Nope.
What's, okay, next steps.
Yeah.
If we move forward with this, what kind of scheduling can we get, Mark or one of our staff to go over there and just update that inventory? Like what kind of timeline would you prefer on that,
How's the time frame? Looking through what is already done, what we had now, I think it'd be pretty quick and easy.
Yeah, cause the inventory stuff we got from you, so, you
Yeah.
probably still have that, and if that can be updated on what's gone and what's added.
Yeah, it'd be quick, as far as what's there. There's big items, which, snow cats, snow guns, and things like that are easy. It's, you start getting down to, a lot of things would be, small little items, we're getting down to the vacuum cleaners and little issues like that, that might take a long time. But
We're not going that far in the weeds, are we? I don't give a shit if he's got a Kirby vacuum cleaner.
Right.
If it was a Hoover, maybe.
But yeah, big items, that's easy to do.
Oh, we should
Okay.
have left upgrades and stuff into the summer.
Yeah.
So if we agree to this, what do we do? There was a mention of a lease for the season. How do you,
Is it just based on the date we set for closing?
You just lease it back to them for $1. You just have in your purchase agreement. It's really no different than I agree to sell my house to somebody, but I'm not ready to move out. And so I basically sell it, close, and I have a lease back where I'm now the renter of the house for a few months till I can find alternate arrangements. We would do something similar where you would have a purchase agreement, it'd be nice to just get it closed so that you become the legal owner, and then the business becomes the tenant, through a lease back that for a period of a year, or 6 months or 5 months or however long whatever everybody
Timeline
agrees
would
to.
you guys be okay with as far as us doing that, like for a closing date, I guess?
tomorrow?
Honestly, right now, this is our gear up season. We're gearing up for this, we're out there getting everything in checks and balance. It takes a long time for your snowmaking systems, your chairlifts. Running late today because we had new personnel, we're training new personnel today, trying to get them up and going. They just showed up yesterday for the first day and get them going with our advertising, marketing, inside sales. As for a definite date, we really don't know. It's it's the stress of trying to get everything else up and going. An ideal closing date, I guess before the end of the year.
Sure. When does the ski season get into next year? When's the ski season typically? When is it over?
We start, sometime in, well, Mother Nature, but
I know.
mid-December.
Mid-December?
Well, you
Mid-December.
meant like when it.
When's it?
No, when is
Oh,
the
when is
ski
it over?
season end? When are you done? Like, people aren't showing up.
Mid-March.
Mid-March?
Mid-March, could be 1st of March, usually mid-March. That's a good ball game.
So you could say in April
April
1st
1st.
or even April 15th to get you time to like get stuff clean. I'm just thinking of timing, you know,
Yeah,
to
that's what I
say
was thinking,
that.
maybe just April 15th.
Corby, the road's private up to the place from the bridge?
From the bridge up to, yes, yes.
Do the other people on that road that live on that, I forget what it is? They participate in that?
Yeah, Moran's, Donna Rail, and, which she hasn't paid, but anyway,
Parents are the only people that pay.
yeah.
She what?
Sam was saying Moran's are the only ones that,
The pay towards the upkeep of the
yeah.
road.
And we've been doing horse trading with the Moran's. They'll help us out with grading or some other stuff, and then we'll just parking, yeah.
Okay, will there be some maintenance on that this year? Will there be gravel put on it through the season?
Yeah, we do one sweep coming up. It's pretty dang nice right now. I mean, it's,
It gets pretty brutal there when the frost comes out.
yeah, but for the most part, I'd say 90% of the time, we're better than the county road. So, the Ken would come out there and do it. The only time we really had any issues was when that flood came through. And it broke that dike and came right through our road and took out our road, and that was, yeah, that was a headache. So, that was up on us to take care of a, half a mile section of road. So,
What other questions we got?
And is it possible for you to have everything taken care of by the 10th of December? No later than that?
Yeah.
We have a commitment from you, Mr. Fleischer, that will make sure that, you'll be able to, perform your end of the sale by the 10th of December.
yeah, if we can get everything set up, October, November.
Basically.
I believe so. And there was a lot of work before, just going through the
Do you have an-
lawyers.
Yeah, do you have an attorney that you prefer to work with or?
Yeah, we worked the same one we worked with before.
Okay.
Okay,
We're not using the same one we worked with last time.
Yeah. A good idea.
how do we guarantee
Me.
the insurances are current and
I
cover
would-
the county's butt?
Yeah, I would just make sure that we have to decide, I mean, the devil's in the details, right? Whatever you feel like you need to have for a liability, insurance policy, we would just require a certificate of insurance. Are you worried, I mean, prepaid, I mean, I think, you could just say certificate of insurance that indicates that it's paid up through the end of the season. I mean, if the lease is gonna go through something like April 15th, then you would want a certificate of insurance that indicates that there is coverage in place for for that period of time, and that we'd be probably named insured just to make sure that we're.
Yeah, we said at the county is additionally insured or.
Yeah,
whoever
it's
it might
not,
be.
that's,
That's easy to do.
that shouldn't be, I don't think that should be hard.
Yeah, I don't wanna have you guys leave without asking some of these questions, like your employees, is that still something you would? At one point we talked and it was like, well, we'd like you to keep our people on.
Well, I
Does it
think
matter
it's-
after this season?
No, of
or-
course, there's a couple employees that I think it's
We've
imperative.
got one of them.
Ray's one of them.
Raise
correct?
one, yeah, I mean.
He's got the brains of the operational stuff.
Well, mechanical.
I
Take
guess
care
what
of
do you
it.
want that to look like? Are you wanting that person to just be
Well, it's gonna be, yeah.
1099 to us or something?
I think it's beneficial for the county, I mean, hands down. I mean, it's like anything, it's your decision, but it's like, if you don't keep a couple key people around, it's really like, and if we're not here, in the future, as far as operating it or have a management agreement with it,
I guess would you
Oh, yeah,
want to just
100%.
identify those folks for us, like when we get to the negotiating period, just so
Of
we know
course.
who they are?
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess what difference does that make, Mr. Schultz?
well, that's part of,
well,
If we purchase the, property and the equipment, and he leases, he hires his own people.
no, I'm with you there. I think this was just looking forward beyond that, whether or not,
Which is
beyond this.
Yeah.
We can't, like,
I know there's no guarantee, but I think it's nice for some people that have been working out there for 20-some years, and have the knowledge of how things operate, to keep them on.
I think there's benefit to that too, personally.
But
Nice to know which guy, where you hang wrench to make something work that might not be perfect, that kind of thing, but.
right, and it's gonna be, yeah.
Those are things I think that can be, I mean, they probably work out, but I don't know that they're appropriate to stick into a legal document, because there's no guarantee. I mean,
I agree.
maybe we can't run it competently and you just decide that, oh, you gotta take a year off. I mean, it may be that, a lot of things can happen, in a year. I mean, I definitely think there's a value to keeping experienced people around if you're trying to run a business.
Sure. Well,
You obviously wanna keep people around that help you run that business. If it turns out that who the hell knows? We had some weird COVID variant, the whole world shuts down, you can't do anything.
Well,
I mean, you
think
can't be locked into, I don't think I don't know if we'd want them as county employees versus like consultants or
Well,
independent
that's kinda
contractors.
right.
Yeah.
I guess that's part of it too, is I just wanna make sure if we go through, if we go through this deal, that you guys feel comfortable with it, and that you walk away from it feeling good about it and not like, oh, we screwed ourselves, or, I don't want you to feel that way, I think we wanna feel that way
Right.
too, on our end, the price tag for us is higher than we wanted to go, but I feel like we're getting closer to being able to figure that out on our end, and, I just think if we can be able to walk away, I told you this at the very beginning,
Walk away check.
we
Yeah,
should-
that's why we have to feel
Yeah,
comfortable, and we just know the value of the property. Hands down, we know what it is. And if the day doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I mean, it's just, that's the county that
We want it to be a
entered
ski hill
into
too,
it, so.
you should know that,
Well, that was my next question. What is what is the plans? We don't,
I think the parts that can't be ski hill, we kind of make more park uses, I don't know, I haven't been up there since I was like 12, so I don't know, up on the ski hill, but I think there's areas where we'd probably try to expand some of our walking trails and things like that for the summer, but then, but I don't think there's any intent for it not to be a ski hill. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
think that's
attraction.
that's a nice value up there for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks, everyone knows what Mountain Crescent is, everyone, and I'm sure when you guys took it over, there was probably that day where you're like, well, we can't change the name of this thing, it ain't gonna happen, because it's just, that's what everyone knows it as.
no, we thought about it, but we said, no, it's part of the community and part's been named for a long
Right.
time.
So I don't
And-
think we'd ever change it either, I mean,
Right.
I'm saying that, and the next board could just, tell me whatever.
Even if you did change the name, people would always refer to it as Mount Crescent. You
Sure.
can't change that.
They still call it Crescent Ski
Or
Hills.
Crescent Ski Hills.
Yeah, so it's been Mount Crescent they changed the name 30 years ago. It's still called Crescent Ski Hills.
If anything, we'd try to do some, enhancements, like we kind of talked where that lay down yard was, there's potential that there could be an RV kind of set up there so that we could,
Right.
College World Series comes around, that might be a good opportunity that we have RV space for people to come use and
No, I
also
think,
enjoy our park,
I believe the possibilities for the county and what they can do and tie it into the Hitchcock is endless.
Yeah.
From, I think talked before, having maybe a lodge up top or conference rooms to wedding venue. And
Yeah, there's so much opportunity
it's,
for that place.
more.
A lot
This is
more
real.
opportunity.
well, and the reason we haven't done it, because like I said, we found a place we're comfortable without spending. I'm out there 24 hours a day from basically December 1st till November 1st till January, during snowmaking. And I want to keep that going through all the other times of years. And several years, we found out we're comfortable, we get to enjoy our travels, we enjoy our kids, and take some time off during the summertime. And kind of like you said, Justin, you haven't been there in 12 years or something. I don't know if any gentlemen have been there, during the ski season and seen, and go inside the lodge and see how many people are out there skiing, what it looks like, and it looks a little hill in Colorado. Of course, in the summertime and spring and fall, it doesn't look that way. It's kept grounds. We try to keep it nice and clean and well kept. I'm sure Chad Gravy wants, tall flowers and stuff everywhere, but we like trees, we like to mow
No, he
it.
wants to burn it.
Burn it.
He wants to burn it
He
all.
wants to set it on fire.
Right, and I-
He's just, he burns everything.
Yeah,
I
but
understand
it
that.
really changes things too.
But, bottom line, Smith and I have a vested interest in this for all the years. Lindemann's had it for several years. It's been hard work. We love it, we enjoy it. We employ a heck of a lot of high school kids, college kids, go to Iowa Western, a lot of local kids growing up there.
Their
And
siblings and their
there's,
siblings.
years and years, and that's, I think that's kind of special about it. And it's a lot of part-time kids that make money to pay for their popcorn, take a date to the movies, to put the parts on their cars. There are Iowa Western kids going and pay for college. And it's just one of those places, it's a nice, and they enjoy working there. It's a nice place. It's just special to us, and it always has
I never
been.
see that going away. I mean, I don't want it to ever go away.
I want that to always be that way, you know?
Well, that's, I think, why we like to stay on and see it through. And don't have, people always come in with their own suggestions. We'll do it this, do that way. Say, look, we've tried that, it doesn't work. And not wasting county money, taxpayer money doing that. If there's a way to do it, bring some people to put in new ski runs or make it bigger and better and where the location should be, the flow coming down, which we've always had the ideas, over the years to do something like that. And quite honestly, if this doesn't go forward, we have our plans of doing, our next steps with it. And we have a really good team in place. It's taken a long time to find a good team that's been, especially when you're seasonal. It's hard to find people that are seasonal and then they go off and get a job somewhere else and try to get them back again.
Right.
We've got a lot of people that are year-round now, and it's been, last 3 years, great.
They're vested into the ski area, the community piece. I had mentioned before, they kind of drank the Kool-Aid, their hearts are in it. They see the big picture. Everything is we, it's a part. I always say that, Corby and I, we may be the owners of the ski right now, but it belongs to the community. We're just managing it. It's a community thing, and it's bigger than we are. It's older than we are. We're just celebrating 60 years right now, and it's, it was here way before we were, and it's, I don't know, kind of gets me.
Okay, so like, if we decide to lease it, we lease it to you for the year, when we pay you, you said you want right to first refusal to run it again?
Correct. Yeah.
Is that until we pay you full, or is that?
No, it doesn't until we pay, no. I mean, the whole thing coming, paying in full was something, just, if the county didn't have the funds and the funds or coffee to pay it all in full, I was willing to help the county out.
I think the county would want to buy it and be done. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, and that's fine by me too. If that's the case, then that's fine. I was just, if there was enough funds for all that to take place or not. I was willing
Yeah, so-
to bend over,
I mean, just
and
full
help out a little
disclosure,
bit,
we're
bend
gonna-
backwards.
We're just gonna sacrifice a different project that we had in mind to come up with the rest, just to be honest, just being full disclosure is where we're at. If we can get to 3.5, that's what we'll have to do, and, I think at that point, that's where we just, but that doesn't mean that I'm just saying this on behalf of myself. I think in the future, I'm still probably gonna be calling you, asking questions, just regardless.
And like Ray knows the systems, I think he's important up there, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he knows,
Well,
chairlifts.
he knows the chairlifts.
I mean, it's-
That's the
Yeah.
only part he
And
knows.
And the water system.
Snowmaking system? Yeah, we have some other guys that do the snowmaking. Right over the years has been part of it. And, you can get electrician is electrician. A pipe layer is a pipe layer, but they're all over the place. When it comes to knowing a chairlift, they're far and few between. You're calling people in Michigan, Wisconsin. Our guys flying from New Hampshire, we had a guy from California come in. We have to have specialists come in and work on them. We had all of our drives updated. Drives are electrical drives, and we can never slow them down. They were built to go one speed. And so now we have spent a lot of money so you can actually adjust the speed for beginners or experts. So if it's a slow day and there's all the experts out there, skiers, we make the chairlift can go fast. So that's what guys want, up and down quick. Or if it's a day where it's really busy and we have a bunch of beginners, we can actually dial it back down. Before it was just a one speed, it was on and off. And that takes specialists come in and then go through everything, and they have to be, insurance purposes, they have to be certified. Yeah, and there's nobody certified in this area, so. And that, except Ray has been over these years, one of our guys,
He's learned
he
it.
learned ins and outs. Yeah,
For a fallback, God forbid, but if something happens to them during the lease period, who's the backup for that?
To Ray?
No, to you folks,
To run in the rest of the year.
you know? I mean, what's our
Oh,
fail safe?
I mean, the short answer for me, and I'm gonna be cold about it, it's like, that's not really our problem. Because if something happened to them, the business went down. I mean, as long as the equipment stays the same,
Right,
you know, that's more of an issue of them making sure they've got business continuity to run it throughout the year.
please,
You know, it's, I mean,
okay.
if you're, I don't think you're looking to get into a business partnership long-term with the Fleischers. I mean, I think that's what I'm seeing is purchase the land, purchase the business, lease it back, they run it for a year. And then
Season.
you're going your separate ways, try to keep folks on that you can that are helpful, that are subject matter experts on the equipment that you've got, but you're pretty much just done at that point. So I guess that's sort of the agreement I've got in my brain and I'm gonna try to put together. Cause you know, I'm not big in the trust department. I don't need to worry about it. I don't worry about trust, cause I just try to write good documents so that we don't have to worry about when you trust each other, the contract controls. I've put together partnerships before I was county attorney for people that were best friends. And they hated each other by the time it was over with, and they didn't have big fights because they had a good partnership agreement. So that's what I'm gonna try to do is just, you know, figure out something that everybody feels good about, your lawyers, us, so that everybody is fine at the end. So, I mean, the only issue for us is we just wanna make sure that the equipment that is in place is there for when we take over the business in future years. As long as we've got that, I think I'll be comfortable with it.
Sounds good.
I feel comfortable I can come up with the documents, whether you guys can come to terms, I'm not in the middle of that. Sounds like we're very, very close, but I feel comfortable I can come up with the documents.
Got anything more?
Nope,
So
I'm just
who,
listening.
who ends up putting the value on the property and then on what goes on the equipment?
I don't know that makes, I mean, you're buying it all pretty much for one price, right? I mean, I think you can you can semi-arbitrarily
Yeah, but I
set
think-
a price for, we'll assign this value for the business and we'll assign this value for the, you know, for the property. But the reality is, you're just looking at a lump sum, I think in the end, is the total price of purchasing business and land is X. And we're looking at paying a certain value. And as long as we're within the realm of reason, I mean, you could say 80% is the land and 20% is the business, or 50-50. I mean, I don't know if we.
I think the way, I'm sorry to interrupt it, set up as land and then assets.
Yeah.
And all that, what do you call it? And then you put the
And
business
some
in
of
there.
that, I mean, as long as it's within the realm of reason, I'll probably let your side make those decisions, because we don't have tax implications, I don't think, that are near the issues for us that you're gonna potentially have. And there may be a difference in assigning value to land versus the business.
Correct.
And so whatever your accountant and tax law, as long as they're within the realm of reason, I don't care what value we put on it. It doesn't matter to us. If we were buying a business, like if I was going to, what is it, Sunbelt Business Systems, you know, I'm looking to buy a going concern, I need to know books, I need to know income, I need to know all of that. This is a little different, we're a little weird, I mean, it's just, it doesn't matter to us near as much. This has value to us because it's the park. It has, you know, connection, it has value to you because it's been your, you know, life business, and we'll just figure out the terms and.
Okay, well, so next steps, I guess, get your attorneys talking, I guess, and then.
I'd say we need an updated equipment list, that'll be your to-do list.
Yeah, and we will need, like a land appraisal. We still have the opportunity to go after some REAP
Grants.
funds.
Right.
And they will not fund anything over appraised value, and that's where the land comes into play. So
Sure.
if we can get an updated value on the land specifically, that would help us write
Okay.
that grant.
Don't you have a, appraisal from 2 years ago?
Yeah, we can get that updated.
Okay.
We can't, it's gotta be a current one. And it might have to be updated again before we write the REAP grant, because the REAP grant's not due until next August. We missed it this year.
On our end, that's just us trying to figure out a way to
Yeah,
backfill what we spent, you know?
I don't see it being an issue getting the documents done in a couple of months. I mean, if you're telling me I got a December 10th-ish timeline, I don't see that being a problem. I mean, it's,
As long as you guys are comfortable with it, this is a super awkward meeting, I'm sorry for that.
No, that's
I
fine.
just wanna make sure that we're all on the same term, you know, that
No,
you guys are
you may answer any
comfortable with all
questions, there
this.
might be any questions, like, You know, I said the whole thing came down to, years ago, Chad Gravy met me on the stairs and when I first bought the ski area. I said, hey, we want to buy some land. I said, I'm not pushing, I don't want to sell any land. A couple years later, Donna Rail got involved and said, I don't know what kind of story she made up, and then got us together, says that the county wanted to buy it. And, they're like, no, I thought you, and I was like, no, it's something Donna Rail came up with. And then a couple years later, same thing, the county Chad Gravy came back in and wanted to talk about it. And I wasn't, we talked, that was about it. And then a couple years ago, same thing, Chad Gravy contacted me again. And we got Matt, got the other one, Jeff, and then Mark, did the whole thing last year. And then I said, I'm not interested, I'm done. And then this year, Jeff Schultz contacted me again in March, wanted to talk again. And so that's kind of got to this point. And believe me, we go back and forth every day. Do we want to or do we not? Is this something for our kids? What do we want to do?
Sure. We just, that's
So-
what we're hoping at this point, if we can set December 10th, we don't wanna.
You still go back and forth every day?
Not every day. It's just hard. It's like anything, sentimental value. It's like, don't get me wrong, if we're getting something that's way and beyond what our asking price, sometimes it's a no-brainer. But when we're getting what the book value is on the property and all the assets, we're not asking for blue sky. We came to the county, said, we want this place to succeed. We want it to be bigger and better, and the county can take care of that. County can put the money and not have the what-ifs if something ever happens.
Sure. The hard part for us, what's not being said for us is that we have to shift monies around like crazy in the background. We have to cancel a project just to get to your number. And so that puts a lot of work on him. But what we don't want to do is cancel a project and then come December 9th, you guys say, we're out.
No, I
Because if that happens, then it's like.
No, I understand it completely. No, that's not,
Our money will go away.
I understand, right. And I don't want that to happen for the county. I don't want that, I don't want other projects getting messed up.
When I'm new to the project, I got no baggage, positive or negative, so I'll talk to whoever you got, and,
Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna do the best I can to make sure I protect the board, but I'm interested in trying to make sure everything come to terms, so just so you sort of know where my heart's at. I want the ski hill to continue to run, I want it to be a good,
I do have a quick question. If you don't consider us to, have first opportunity with a management type situation, who will be running
We don't know.
the ski area?
That's something we've got a study we're gonna do. We don't know if we're gonna do county employees. We don't know what we're gonna
See, that's the problem, is like, we don't know if the county's gonna run this thing, or if we're gonna have a nonprofit.
do.
More than
We're
likely it'll
going
be a
into it
nonprofit.
first. We can plan all we want, but till we make the deal and do the deal, we don't know.
Because at the end of the day, it is a ski area, and yes, one component of that is having the chairlifts running, but the number one component of having a ski area is snow. And that is absolutely a science. That is not something you can just take somebody off the street and say, hey, put that machine out there and flip that switch. There are so many variables into making snow that it took us years to learn. And I just,
Well, then it's the other side of it too, like it's the marketing, the advertising,
I don't think.
The business side.
Yeah, I'm not a board member, I don't think that you'd be excluded from consideration, it's just, right now, there are a lot of options that they have to look at, and as soon as you say you have this right, this legal right of refusal, it squishes down our options of doors of how we structure this, because do we want county employees? Do you want a concessionaire that's running it? Are you having a nonprofit that's, that's doing it? There's a lot. I think we're just trying to keep our options open for what's the best to keep it running well.
right. And I
as
see the
long as
opportunity,
possible.
the nonprofit as far as getting funding and, money coming in from different organizations, and I understand that, yeah.
Yeah. When we go out of closed session, we don't vote on anything today, do we?
I don't think we need to, no. If you wanted to excuse them at some point and have us chat, still in closed session, you can certainly do that. But I don't think you have any decisions to make right now, because we're still just sort of hashing out
Until
terms.
you get this stuff written up and agree
Yep.
with the attorney.
I think I have fairly decent marching orders, and I feel like I got a pretty good idea of where they're at, so.
Are you ready to move forward?
Yeah, there's just, if everything, lines
No,
up.
I
I mean,
guess I
last year
feel-
was such a mess, man. It just really put a sour taste in our mouth from the whole mess last year. I don't want that going forward. If we can just be a clean slate and everybody gets together and there's no wishy-washy stuff, yeah. Of course, yeah.
With that in mind, let me just run by a couple of things and stop me if there's something that you don't agree with. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. We're looking at $3.5 million.
Uh-huh.
That includes the ski hill, the equipment, 2 houses. You want half paid in 2021, half paid in 2022. You agree to sign the acceptable purchase agreement on the 10th of December.
Yes. Let me stop you real quick, Tim. We don't have to be paid half now, half, I was bringing that up just,
You know what, it doesn't make any difference to me either.
okay.
If you wanna pay $700,000 in income tax 1 year.
That's exactly it. Let me
For us, our
let me
fiscal
get my
year
accountant on
is-
that. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to say yes or no. I have to see what he said.
That's not a problem, and it's-
Take it up front because
As long as you get $3.5 million by the 1st of April, you don't really care.
Right.
Okay. Because it's the same fiscal year for us. Our fiscal year goes July 1st to June 30th, so it really doesn't make a difference to us
Okay.
at all, because you're in the middle of our fiscal year.
Yeah, and it very
You can
well
figure
might,
that out, like
very well
what's best
might
for
be.
you, just tell us and we can accommodate. There's no reason we can't do that.
And then, we'll put together an attachment to the, or an addendum to the purchase agreement that talks about the equipment. Okay?
Yeah.
And you can
Inventory list.
working with Mark and Conservation on taking a look at that.
Yeah.
Relatively quickly.
Yeah.
You wanna run it for a year
season,
A season.
or a season, well, okay.
April,
And then,
March
I
15th.
want you to know that I'm on this board until 2024. We don't have the employees, nor do we have the money to fund employees to run that ski hill. We're not gonna have them sit around hoping it snows. We're not gonna have them sitting around hoping it gets cold enough to make snow.
I agree.
So if I'm still on the board, we're not gonna run it. And I don't know who will at that point, you know, I think that the board would certainly entertain.
By not running, it doesn't mean it won't be a ski hill, it just means that the county won't be actually.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I got it.
It's bringing on county employees is
We can't afford it.
yeah, it's a pain.
That's why I kind of suggest don't do, going that way, have a management,
Sure.
So,
form a nonprofit, like,
I'm
easy.
very-
I understand, I'm with Tim, yeah.
so, in your, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Samantha.
Samantha,
Sam.
did you have any issues with anything I said?
No.
Okay.
Yes. No. No,
You're struggling sentimentally.
I
But
am
that's- I get it.
because
I
it's
understand.
been such a labor of love for so long that it's
Well, I
hard.
mean, really, and that's just coming from this supervisor, if there's a chance in hell that you guys aren't gonna do it, don't put us through the
Oh, right,
exercise at all.
right. No, and I understand that completely. It's not like, it's like anything. When you sell a car, something you've had it for a long time, it's just, then you see it drive away, you've had it for 20, 30 years, your dad's car or something, it's like, it's hard to see it drive off, so. It happens, but it's just hard to do. So, no, we're with you, I understand. We don't wanna sit there and go through a game,
You know,
take
we
funding
have-
away from you guys.
There's a potential to lose, funding from the Iowa West Foundation. As Justin said, we have projects we're gonna have to shift around and not do. And I don't wanna do that if, as Justin mentioned, December 9th, you say, you know what, we're not in.
Right.
I mean, that's just, I don't think that's fair to us.
No.
So do you need to talk to your accountant and legal people and by the end of this week, tell us your?
Yeah, I think as far as legal goes, that's pretty black and white, just come in and agree, make sure that everything looks good on both ends. Accountant, I have an appointment on Friday with him on this Friday, just over accounting things. It's just hard to get, he's been out, they've been sick, they had COVID in their offices, so it's been nothing but a nightmare for the last month with those guys, so. But this Friday, hopefully everything goes well, yeah, I can get together with them and they can direct me in the direction that we should go.
Who would be your preferred point of contact with us? Do you want it just to be me talking to your lawyer? Do you want to talk to Mark and then the lawyers get together? I'm fine. I shouldn't, that'd be fine. So I shouldn't talk to you directly because you'll need to have your lawyer, you know, that's a no-no to talk to clients without the lawyers present, but,
Yeah, it's just have you contact the
okay,
attorney.
okay.
You obviously got my number, so you can keep the communication going if you need anything, you know.
Yeah.
I have another question. When would this be made public?
That's up to you.
Because that would be a
We're
big,
probably not gonna like super advertise it on the county side of things, so it'd be better probably on private.
I mean, as soon as a big check is getting written, that's when. I mean, I'd say closing.
We'll be
I mean,
talking.
Yeah,
So we
so,
don't, what we don't wanna do is draw a bunch of unnecessary fire to the board, you know, where they're like, you spent $3.5 million on what? And then, but the reality is that folks don't realize that we bought your business, we bought your model, your business model basically is what we're buying. And then, so, you know,
they're just good.
but you guys can use it
when
however
would you,
want.
when do you want it?
Well, it's the employees
It's
aspect
the
of it. We don't want
employees,
employees
there's gonna
jumping
be a lot
out,
of
we don't
questions
jumping
wondering
ship
where
or,
they're going.
Yeah.
you know, if something
Understand.
sneaks out and they,
Sure.
some key people.
This is, I mean, the reason we're doing this in closed session is so that nobody really is allowed, we're allowed to do things in closed session when, if it got out, it could cause problems.
Right.
Once the real estate transaction, however, is consummated, this all of a sudden becomes not, you know, it's no longer a closed session. In fact, people would have access to listen to the tapes if they wanted to and talk about, you know, the discussions we've had. You know, some things we're talking about litigation, those are always private. But when we're talking about real estate transactions, it's allowed to be private until it's done. And so, but I mean, I would say done would be the first payment. I mean, that's how I would look
Right.
at it is. So, you know, if you need time to get a hold of your employees and talk to them, you can time that a little bit. But if you're wanting it in 2 different years, sounds to me like December 31st is about as late as it can go. Because at that point we're,
Sure, okay.
you know,
And we can, yeah, I mean, we'll take our cues from you on that. I mean, do what makes sense to you on that aspect. That way,
We just have some solid employees that are gonna be asking a lot of questions. You know, like I said, they have a vested interest in the ski area. It's their livelihood just as much as ours. And they're gonna wanna know what happens to them. And,
and you know, I'm just telling you, you know, you
yeah,
got my word that we're not just gonna go kick them to the curb and be like, no, we're done with you. Like, that just can't happen because we've
It'd be
reported
crazy
to
for
you.
us to do
Yeah.
that.
And it's not like there's a whole bunch of
no, it's
No,
just
you're
a
talking
handful
maybe
of people.
four
Five.
or five, and four. It's not like there's 20 or 30 employees that the county's all gonna be, you know,
Yeah.
oh man, just to keep the place operating. That's not the case. And in the wintertime, there's some full-time, a lot of it's, like I said, it's high school and college kids. Parents want some extra money, run the chairlifts at night or cooking fries at nighttime or on the weekend.
We just want you to walk away feeling good about this and not, you know, like, we're not, I don't want you to leave here and just be like, oh my God, you know, like, no, I want you to be happy with this decision. We wanna be happy about it too, but as far as us publicizing that we did it, I think we just do that on we'll go
Right.
for you. You guys decide when that time's right and we'll just follow. Ready?
After the season is over.
Well,
Because
close
here's
as
the
we
other thing
can.
we should know is we're actually in the middle of a rebranding of our county right now. So
Hmm?
this would be a perfect opportunity for us, when you guys finally make the announcement, this would be a perfect opportunity for us to help do our rebranding overall and say, look, we expanded our park space. We've now got the ski hill that we're gonna incorporate to make sure that it remains a ski hill, you know, it'll be good marketing on our end too.
Right.
And I think your employees are gonna be, you'll probably be hearing from me a lot, you know, so hopefully it doesn't annoy you too much, but I mean, I guess next year, you know, 2022, you'll probably be getting phone calls from us asking questions, you know, and then you have to decide whether you want to answer the phone or not.
Yeah, well, I said before, I'm not, you know, this has been our baby for a long time, and
Yeah.
even a couple years down the road, something comes up, give me a call, or even suggestions, or helping out, this is what we wanna do, think this will work, I'll give my 2 cents. But hopefully we're around, you know, to see all this. We had
Yeah.
you know, we moved mostly back to Colorado, because our kids are in professional skiing programs and snowboarding, you know, in the big training facility, so it might happen, may not, but that's why, you know, Mount Pleasant only went so far for him. And one of them, you know, last year, he's ranked #1 in the state, you know, for Colorado for ski racing. And he came from a little ski hill here, so it means quite a bit,
Cool, great.
Okay,
you know.
that it?
Well, we'd like to thank you for coming and, allowing us to pick your brains and
Yeah.
give us some information and such.
Hey,
like I said, I guess talk to your people and then shoot for what we've talked about a little bit here, and then we need to discuss a little more probably.
Yeah, moves forward, I can move forward with Mark and getting that stuff,
Okay.
it'd be easy, I mean, that's just the easy part.
Good.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
I'll be bringing my,
Thank you, guys.
I'll be bringing my 9-year-old up there to ski this year.
Well, perfect, I hope
He
so.
was asking about it,
Yeah.
so I said I would.
Well, you know, it's like, you know, when you go to Colorado, if you meet anybody around, ask, and they're from Omaha or Lincoln, a lot of the surrounding area, Council Bluffs or within 60-mile radius, everybody learned to ski in Mount Crescent. No one goes to Colorado and learns to ski. I mean, very, very few.
I did.
That's right.
Majority of them are all Mount Crescent. And, you know, once people go to Colorado, we lose them to Colorado.
Sure.
You know, that's just the way it is, but there's 1.5 million people within 60 miles that, you know, a lot of them want to learn how to ski. And that's what Mount Crescent provided for since 1961. And that, so, well, thanks, King. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Yeah,
Nice to
thanks.
meet you.
Nice to meet you guys too. Good to see ya.
See you, Mark. Have a good
You
one.
got my number right?
Yeah.
I got yours too.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, we got you locked out. There you go. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so the one thing that, the assessor's not gonna let a profit-making entity still not tax it.
Right.
So a zero lease means we, the county, will have to pay property taxes if we're going
Just
to.
running it as a profit-making, right, entity. I would just say, I would say we just write the purchase agreement that any property taxes while they're running it, that's their responsibility.
I
That's,
just think we obeyed them,
you know.
but we own the property. You wouldn't tax the property, and we should tax the
Yeah,
business.
I mean, that's something I have to look all, you know, into, but regardless,
No, I don't know.
She's not gonna, if we own the ski hills, she's not gonna tax.
Well,
us
it's that
for
whole deal like that happened on Riverside Grill, you know,
Yeah,
where,
that was a
Yeah.
bullshit deal too.
well, I'm just saying that's
Well,
what we're
it's
getting
the
back
churches,
into.
the churches renting,
And, well, you know, that, right now, that's the least of, we don't even have a goddamn agreement signed yet.
no, I know, but I'm just saying, we need to have everything on the table.
no, I'm glad to know. I mean, that's something I'll look into, like property taxes. I just have question mark.
I'm
That's,
glad you set a date.
Yeah.
December 10th?
Yeah,
Well, that's,
I know that number can move, or that
See.
date can move, but
we'll see, they.
it was obvious his wife was a little, you know, kinda on the fence there at the end, so I just think we.
I don't think so. I think she's got.
I think you get a purchase
Alzheimer's
agreement
or
in front of
something.
them quickly.
What's that?
So you get a
Yeah,
purchase
okay.
agreement in front of them quickly.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's gonna take
Yeah, I
me
mean-
2 months. I think I can get terms figured out pretty quick. If the board's on board, I'll start putting stuff
Let's get the
together.
deal done,
Closing,
get it in front of
Yeah.
them, get it signed, we'll get them a check.
closing can
I
still be in
guess
December.
before we leave this, everyone needs to know, like, we're not, Iowa West is kicking in a big chunk of this money, so the counties,
Do we know exactly what I was gonna do?
yeah, it's the same.
Well, it's, was it 1.49 and then 100,000 of that was going towards the feasibility study? So it was like 1.35 or, I'd have to check.
1.5, 1.4 was going to the acquisition and 100,000 was for the study.
So like,
Oh,
One
that's-
1.45 was the number, and 100,000 of that was going towards
Okay,
the
so 135, so
feasibility
you're looking
study.
at 215-ish overall.
right, and that's kind of what, the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, when this all happens and it becomes public, we need to be singing the same sheet of music here, saying that the county didn't spend $3.5 million on this, we spent 2.15.
And we can use ARPA funds for this.
And we use, yes, I very much think we should consider that, because at that point, people aren't gonna come and freak out and be like, oh, you spent all this money on what? Like, we have to, and the reality is that we're up against other things, like we talked before about us having some of the smallest park space being the second largest county in the
Yeah.
state. And so I think we can talk.
So I think there's parts of you that are like, I mean, he's like, we're not asking for blue sky. I'm like, well, you might be
Yeah.
asking for a little blue sky. You know, I
$1
mean,
million.
yeah, I mean, I feel like there's some blue sky there.
Wasn't there an appraisal done on the land?
Yeah, I have that. That was 2 years ago.
And then what?
It was 6,300 an acre, 2 years ago.
And we're at 97 acres.
Yeah, 94, well, yeah,
I'm saying
94
out west
for
money is
the
one-time
ski hills and
money, so we
then,
should-
I view that there,
12
honestly, I'm
for the
viewing it
houses.
as we're buying the property for fair market value and Iowa West is buying the blue sky. I mean, that is honestly pretty much what I think is happening, is because you have that that's why I was saying, is there an issue with the timing? Yes,
We've
in
also
that,
got the two houses that have gone incredibly nuts in
I
value.
mean, I think the county always
Sure.
gets $2 million back out of selling it, if you ever had to go that direction with the two
Out of the
houses.
houses?
Out of the houses and the property there, so
Well, yeah,
I don't
and
think
The
you
little
really.
house, I don't
mean,
know if
it's-
you'll get that much,
yeah,
but
you wouldn't get
it's
the
still
money,
worth
you
it.
wouldn't get all the money back, but you'll get all the county's money back.
You don't,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
So that's why I'm less concerned. But I also wanted to make it clear from him, we are not looking at a long-term business, partnership. And I
I
think
do not want
think I got that across. I also didn't want them to back out because they're like, oh, you're kicking us out. We're open to anything, but we're not committing to anything.
and then the way it was structured with Iowa West, I don't think they were comfortable doing everything in one quarter, so they might have to spread their money out over
Yeah,
a
we
couple
might just have to
quarters.
leverage our money then on our
Sure.
side to do that.
Yeah,
That's
just a
fine.
heads up on
Yeah,
that, so.
ask them how they want it.
What's that?
Speak, talk with Brenda. After we get the purchase agreement signed, we probably
Should
should have that,
probably,
we probably should have that in
reach out
hand.
to Brenda and let her know, like,
Yeah.
we finally,
You gonna talk to
Yeah,
us, Scott?
Matthew Hanks reached out to me last week, so I said, well, we have a session coming up on this next week, so.
yeah, I saw Brenda in passing like 2 weeks ago, and I said something to her too. I'm like,
They
hey,
just wanna know if they need to hold on to that money and
Sure.
keep it there, so.
So are you gonna update them then?
I'll reach out to Matthew,
Okay.
and if.
And I guess I'm
someone
gonna
has
wait till he's
contact with
had his
Brenda-
accountant meeting, but meanwhile, I'm gonna start maybe just putting together a very, very bare bones skeleton. Who's his attorney? He said,
Carol Kruger, I'll give you that information.
okay, that's fine, I'll get that from Mark.
She's in Colorado, Vail or something like that.
If, I'm okay to move forward with this,
Oh, I gotta make a
I am.
trip out to Vail then, right, to negotiate this in person?
Agreement signed this year. I'm out. I'm not
We-
fucking around with this guy
I
anymore.
totally agree with you on that.
Okay.
And I don't think.
Well, I think you guys all made it, you made it as clear, you were very diplomatic about it, but I think you made it very clear, like, don't be putting us through the stress of going through this, and then, Lucy pulled the football away from Charlie Brown, it's
Well,
like-
that's why I was,
And Brian was pretty clear too, this goes away, the money goes away, so I think, I mean, there's a little, it's like, we know that they know, I mean, they're puffing, they're like, oh, we're not selling you blue sky, they know we know they are, right?
Right.
But they also know our money goes away if they dick around as well, and they don't have 20 people looking to buy this, property for $3 million. So they're gonna get a bonus because we just really want the property because it has unique value to us that it does not have to, if I was Matt Wilbur, private investor looking for a business to buy, I would never buy this business at this price. But I'm not. I'm the county that has needs for a park that this is just unique. So I mean, it's a little bit of a bad deal. I don't know. I mean, I think it's worth it to us.
well, that's why, and I agree 100%, I'm not real thrilled about the 3 and 5 even, but, them not talking to their people yet and saying I'm still,
Well, I think they just know that they'll just peace out.
no, but I'm just saying,
There's people out there that know in Crescent, that there's people that know that they're selling, they wanna sell this.
Well, I mean, okay, we showed up out there, I mean, I get it, but.
It's
Oh.
the guys from the ski hill.
But they're not gonna be able to keep this secret
until
April. I
mean, they can
No,
keep it
Cause I know
secret.
Ray,
We still have
and
Yes,
People are still working at that
Absolutely.
time,
so
so
I
they're not gonna
remember this
leave.
year where he said that if they keep this,
They're gonna, like, I
Well,
don't, I think when they get the
say
snow
nothing
money.
to it.
last time it was, and I don't know how long, how many years has that been? Somebody from 2 years?
2 years ago, when we were at 2.65.
Right. Okay, and then somebody from
2.65.
Iowa West
Someone leaked it, that it was, that I
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Said something to them,
Was my
if
goddamn
I
mind.
remember right. Wasn't that?
Someone leaked that Iowa West was on board last time, and then Corby's like, well,
The
I
price
think I want
jumped
more
up.
money. You know, and then the deal was off. That's why we got to where we are today, because it leaked.
2 years ago. Okay, we got anything more?
Need a motion to.
Just for everybody
Okay.
to remember, this is an closed session and it's not public information and I think you can discuss it between ourselves outside this meeting, but it can't be discussed anywhere else.
Yeah, the only one I'll be discussing it with outside of this group is whoever their lawyer is. I mean, obviously I have to discuss it with them so we can get the terms, but.
Scott, are you okay moving forward with this?
Yeah.
Lynn, are you?
Yes.
Well, okay, when you say okay, we're talking.
3.5 million.
We're gonna go to the 3.5. Assuming everything is, equipment wise and is there.
Assuming we come to terms, right? I mean, assuming that I get the agreement
It's like you
negotiated.
said, Tim, get a signed purchase agreement, is the next big step.
And I'm not kidding. It's
This guy-
never over until he signs that
Yep.
purchase agreement. He could even back out then, but what's more important to me is that.
Tim and her both gonna sign it then?
I think actually Corby's the only one on that thing. I think-
Okay. Well, obviously, we'll have to do some due diligence and make sure I get all the legal board, the business owners on,
Matt, I think I wanna change what I said earlier. I think I would like for you to move forward, try to get a purchase agreement done as fast as you can.
yeah, no, I'm going to regard, I'm not
I
looking at
want the
December
deed
10th.
signed in December.
Okay.
Yeah, closing date.
I was honestly thinking that was the closing
Okay.
date in my brain. I was really thinking within the next few weeks I would like to have. I mean, I gotta get that other 2080 done. That'll be easy, but, this'll take a little bit to go back and forth on.
We can close?
Matt can.
Matt can close it?
Sure, I can get figured out.
And then we go in and survey it afterwards?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we'll have the legal descriptions from it. I mean, I'll be able to get those off out of the recorder's office. so-
Mark, you have all that.
I'll send you,
Okay.
I'll look for everything that we
Okay.
have from Scott Rogers, everything that was pulled together and,
Okay.
and get
We
that
just
to
gotta
you.
make sure this, at this point,
Did-
doesn't fail. I mean, we can do
Did we
this.
survey last time? When he bought the land, it was surveyed, correct?
Yeah, we didn't do, I mean, we're gonna have to do, we were
A re-up.
going over like a title opinion or,
You have to do those anyway.
yeah, you have to do those anyway, so we,
Survey will be optional until you wanna build a structure, do something.
yeah, we
Really.
just went off the legal descriptions and
Freaking hungry.
the abstracts.
You know, it's
Is it at 1 or 1:30?
one. And you know, talk about blue sky, this is my last comment, I swear to God, we can close out of this, but when he said that, oh yeah, you know, it's been a lot for us to keep it maintained and all that, it's like, fuck. I went out there with Justin, I wouldn't eat a burger, I'd eat a burger off of my fucking deck floor before I'd eat a burger out of that kitchen.
Have they cleaned it since the last time
Look,
they
no,
cooked
tiles
it?
all broke up, I mean, there's no maintenance on that. You know, he was sitting
It's
there.
been so long since I've been
Tim's
up
pretty
there.
bougie, so you gotta realize that too. You go to his house and, you know.
There are many restaurant kitchens I
It's
would
been
want
so
to be
long
in
since I've
regardless.
been up there, I'd like to go up sometime.
Yeah, it was, we went
I
up
have-
there, I don't know.
I have
2
key
weeks
staff
ago,
that I'm
and
gonna involve in this, so they already know.
Nothing
I have
beats that
a
view,
couple
man.
people that know what,
down that valley, it's just.
kind of where we're at here already, so, or where it could have been at, so I'm gonna be talking to at least a couple of my staff on this.
Well, I'm planning on putting some sort of clause in here about, I mean, we won't interfere with their running of the business, you know, during this, but they will cooperate with us learning the business sort of during the same, period of time. So if we, as long as we're not being interfering, that we can have the right to show up and kind of learn the ropes, so to
That's after the
speak.
December 10th date?
I like that.
I mean,
So I just think that's important for us
my
to,
fear with Iowa West is, I don't know how much they'll disclose to their board. I still wanna,
circle up with Matt too,
Okay.
just,
I'll try to use discretion and ask Brenda to
Yeah.
keep it.
They can just say that the deal is still going through, we need to hold on to this money. I don't think their board needs to know much about it. At this time, I would think,
Well,
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
They just need to know if we need to hold on. to
Yes,
that money.
exactly.
And that's, and they know.
Well, I told Brenda we're counting on her participation. I told her that when I saw her, and she said,
Okay. Motion to go out of closed session.
second.
All right.
Roll call.
Roll call, Supervisor Groby.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Belt.
Aye.
Wickman. Shay.
Aye.
I'm not very creative, right? Let's go down one way, down the other.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.